Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from the Bhagavad Gita, Chapter 2, text number 40 onwards. Neha Bhikrama Nasho Asti Pratyavayo na Vidyate Swalpamapi Yasya Dharmasya Trayate Mahato Bhayat. In this endeavor, there is no loss or diminution, and a little advancement on this path can protect one from the most dangerous type of fear. Many times people have a question in mind because we have grown up with this mentality, always thinking, what is in it for me? So the Lord also understands, the scriptures also understand, which are the word of God, and therefore they do talk about the benefits of this process. We discussed about two types of dharma, Swadharma and Sanatan Dharma. We have already explained the benefits of Swadharma, performing our duties towards friends, family, society perfectly, and how their results are temporary and they are finished with the body. But then there is another type of duty that we are all expected to perform, being parts and parcels of God, and that is our Sanatan Dharma. That is our duty towards God, and nobody can deny that. Islam, Christianity, Sikhism, Hinduism, Judaism, everyone agrees with this one aspect of life. So what happens when we start walking this path? Krishna has already explained when we engage in his devotional service, our Sanatan Dharma. First thing that he has mentioned in text number 39 is that we become free from the bondage of karma. It is karma only which is making us dance like puppets against our will. It is our karmic situation only that does not let us be happy forever. And every now and then there is a huge setback, disappointment, reversal in life. Everything is going so well, and suddenly everything is topsy-turvy, upside down. Krishna says, first thing, when you engage in my devotional service, when we connect with God, when we start practicing spiritual life, Krishna consciousness, first thing that happens is we become free from the karmic reactions. They begin to get nullified. Being the king, the Lord can do that. Sometimes people think, oh, but karma, we have to go through it, na? No, we are not programmed robots. Everything can change. Our destiny can change if the Lord intervenes. And he does intervene if we reach out to him. He's always standing, waiting for us to turn to him. He's just looking for that one moment when we turn to him, and then he will never let us go. Now one might question, we are talking about freedom from karma. That means we have to do a lot of hard work. It must be tough because there are so many big yogis, the big powerful rulers of the universe, Indra, Chandra, Vayu, Surya, and even up to Brahma. They have such high positions, but even they are not free from their karma. Their positions also change when their pious credits get over. So that is why, understanding our doubt, Krishna speaks this 40th verse, which is one of the most hope-giving verses of the Bhagavad Gita, where he says, in this endeavor, there is no loss or diminution. We discussed about the results of good work, pious work in this world. That number one, with time they diminish. The more we enjoy, the more our pious credits diminish. And in due course of time, they are also lost. And little mistake and the result could just be the opposite. But when it comes to service to Krishna, service to the Supreme Lord, It is explained in this endeavor there is no loss or diminution. Any credits that we acquire in the Lord's service, they are eternal. They never diminish and they stay with us life after life after life, and they are carried forward with the soul to the next destination, and we begin from where we left off in the past. Suppose we make 10% advancement or we acquire 10% credits in this lifetime. In our next life, we will begin from 11%. So there is no loss or diminution ever. And secondly, a little advancement on this path can protect one from the most dangerous type of fear. That even if we do little, we don't have to become perfect on this path. That little will save us from the greatest dangers in life. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, there is a beautiful story and quite instructive of a boy named Ajamil. He lived in a city called Ujjain. He was born in a Brahmin family, extremely pure, gentle, humble, respectful, austere, not frivolous at all, and grave. You name it, and he had it. He had all the divine qualities that one could ever dream of. One fine day, he was going to fetch some wood from the forest, as per the instruction of his father. And while returning on his way home, he saw a prostitute and a low-class person, and both were completely drunk. They were kissing each other, they were embracing each other, they were dancing, their hair had become loose, and they were totally intoxicated. So this entire scene made a deep impression on his mind. So he somehow hurried back home, but he could not get that lady out of his mind. You see, our mind is a storehouse of past impressions and future desires. Every now and then something just pops up and we wonder, where did it come from? Well, our mind already has it. It just needs a conducive environment, and all those appropriate or inappropriate desires as per that environment will suddenly come out. For example, we are standing in a field, we might not be able to see the seeds below the soil. But as soon as there is rain, immediately the seeds will sprout. They just need a favorable environment. So therefore our mind is filled with unlimited desires and impressions and experiences from the past. As soon as there is some conducive environment, those desires just pop up. So his base desire, just the vices in his heart which were lying dormant, just came out. And he couldn't speak, he couldn't stop thinking of that prostitute. He was already married to a beautiful, gentle and pure Brahmana wife who was young. He kicked her out. His parents were old, he didn't look after them. He was so obsessed with the desire to associate with that prostitute lady that one fine day he brought her home and engaged her as his maidservant. That was an excuse. And then in her association, he engaged in all kinds of sinful activities to fulfill her wishes. When all his wealth was over, he started killing, gambling, cheating, stealing and whatnot. From being a pure, gentle, Brahminical boy, he became the greatest sinners of the time. His parents died without being cared for, and every possible sinful activity he committed on this planet. And he didn't realize while being engaged in this life. Now he must have done it around when he was 15 years old, around that time. He was quite young, it is mentioned. And then life passed. Years passed. He didn't realize that his time to leave this world had come. When he was 88 years old, by that time he had 10 children. And imagine his youngest child at that time was 10 years old. So Ajamil was lying on his deathbed. It was pitch dark inside that room, and suddenly he sees three ferocious people with uh, scary faces, scary eyes appearing in front of him. So Ajamil got so scared, he was trembling. And when a person is fearful, two things happen. He remembers the person who is most dear to him, and he will call out to the person who is very near to him. So Ajamil had 10 children, and the last one, the youngest one, he had named him Narayan. Now, youngest child is always very important and very dear to everyone. So Ajamil was also very fond of him. And every now and then he was so attached to him, call him, Narayan, come here, sit here, take your food, sleep, let's play, Narayan, come here, go there, like that. So he was always interacting with him like that. So when the Yamadutas, these scary people, were messengers of Yamaraj, they entered. Ajamil, out of fear, called out, Narayan! Now what happened here is that he had become very sinful, but in his childhood he had performed some devotional service to the Supreme Lord. He used to worship Shaligram Shila, a form of Lord Vishnu. And then he deviated from the path. But one of the 64 primary qualities of Krishna is gratefulness. He is very grateful. Even if we do little for him, he will remember it forever, and he will reward us at the right time. He takes complete charge of our life as soon as we turn to him and tell him just once, my dear Lord, from this moment I am yours. So the Lord was always thinking of bringing Ajamil back to the forgotten path, and therefore from within his heart he only inspired him to name his last son Narayana. When the Lord saw there was no hope, he was just continuing to engage in sinful activities. So he decided to inspire him from within, because he knew he would be very attached to this youngest child. So let him name him after me. Because where no other spiritual process works, only the name of God works. And therefore it is explained in Kali Yuga, the only spiritual practice which will be most effective according to scriptures is the chanting of the Lord's holy names. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So Ajamil, as soon as he called out, Narayan, immediately the entire room was lit up with the effulgence of four very powerful personalities who had 4 hands, and all the 4 hands were decorated with weapons like that of Lord Vishnu. And these were Vishnu Dutas, messengers of Lord Vishnu. As soon as they appeared, they said, "Stop it!" And the Yamadutas were shocked. This was for the first time in the history that they were forbidden from doing their duty. They had kind of some ego also, because whoever Yamaraj told them to bring to him, they would just go and just snatch the soul out of the body, and nobody could do anything. But this is the first time they were stopped, and this kind of hurt their ego. And they said, "Who are you? You look some divine personalities. Are you the Devas? Are you some celestial beings? Are you the messengers or servants of the Supreme Lord?" Like that. And the Vishnu Dutas simply asked the Yamadutas, "Oh, what terrible injustice is happening in the assembly of Dharamraj." Yamaraj is also known as Dharamraj. He keeps an account of our good and bad activities and rewards or punishes accordingly. So they asked, such adharma is happening here, such irreligion is taking place. The Yamadutas were shocked. Irreligion? adharma. We are just trying to take this sinful soul away. And then they related the entire history of Ajamil's life. The Vishnuduta said, what to speak of this lifetime? Ajamila, when he called out to his son, although he was not addressing our Lord Narayan, but he called out his name nevertheless in complete helplessness. Therefore, by just chanting that Lord's names even once, he has not just counteracted, or he has not just finished sinful reactions of this lifetime, but all the previous lifetimes. Everything is washed away. That is the power of the Lord's name. And then there was a long conversation. To cut the long story short, we can discuss it sometime later in Bhagavad, whenever we start. But the Yamadutas could not take Ajamil away. And Ajamil was given second birth. He saw this entire scene and heard the entire conversation. The Vishnudutas also disappeared, and Ajamil came back to his senses, and he gave up everything, and he left for Haridwar. There in a temple of Lord Vishnu, he dedicated the rest of his life just to the chanting of the Lord's holy names. He was thinking, if one unconscious chanting of the Lord's name could bring me back to life, then what if I do it willingly and every day? And in the end it is explained, those 4 Vishnudutas who had protected him earlier descended in a celestial, in a Vaikuntha airplane, and they took him back to the spiritual world of Vaikuntha, back to the abode of Lord Vishnu. So even though Ajamil did very little, but in the end the result that he received was 100%. That is the power of devotional service. That is the power of Bhakti Yoga. That even if we do little, this path will protect one from the most dangerous type of fear. And that's what happened to Ajamil. That is the glory of this path. That is the glory of re-establishing, reviving our connection with Krishna, the Supreme Lord. He is very grateful, and he is very, very eager to shower his grace upon us. But we have to show him with our actions and our words that we truly want that grace. And even if unknowingly we end up doing some devotional service, either hearing about him, chanting his names, remembering, offering prayers, worshipping his deity form, etc., associating with his devotees, then for sure our doors to liberation are fully open. It's just a matter of time before we realize that. So this is the path on which we can simply run blindly. So hope-giving. Even if we do little, don't worry whether we shall be able to do this much, that much. Sometimes people get scared. Doesn't matter. Whatever you can do, whatever you will be able to do, will become your eternal asset and will stay you forever and will protect you from the greatest fears in life. Text 41. Vyavasayatmika buddhir ekeha kurunandana bahu shakhahi anantascha buddhayo avivasayinam. Those who are on this path are resolute in purpose, and their aim is one. O beloved child of the Kurus, the intelligence of those who are irresolute is many-branched. Krishna is indicating one more thing that happens when we start reconnecting with him, when we start engaging in our eternal dharma, our duty towards God, is that our quality of determination is revived. We become one-pointed, focused. And we all know that when we are focused, we can achieve much more in less time. So that quality is revived. The third benefit Krishna is talking about in this particular verse, and he's also trying to indicate to Arjuna that Arjuna, you are already on this path, you are my devotee, you are so close to me. How is it that your aim, your focus is wavering? You should be one-pointed, determined to do your prescribed duty. So if you're not determined, irresolute, your intelligence will take you in all different directions. That means you will not be able to take the right decisions in life. Intelligence is supposed to discriminate, but if the intelligence is not focused, if we are not determined, then intelligence will run in different directions like 5-6 different wild horses trying to take the chariot in different directions, and we will get bewildered. So be focused. And then he talks about how people get distracted, and he tells Arjuna, you don't be distracted by that, but that he speaks in text number 42 and 43, which we shall discuss in the next podcast. Thank you very much.